everybody. Welcome to the holidays. This is the best sweater ever. I know. You won't even be able to focus on what I'm saying. It is just that awesome. So, let's get started. You have to watch us twice. We already get that. So, let's start off talking about the First Amendment, freedom of religion. Christmas is a religious holiday, so I figured, why not? Now, first thing, religion is the very first topic in the very First Amendment. As it says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. And of course, this was a revolutionary concept of the 18th century. Of course, Europe had a tradition, a long, centuries-long tradition of having a monarchical society centered around not just the monarchy and the aristocracy, but also having established churches. Taxes went to pay churches. Not only that, you had mandatory fidelity as to a certain church at times. If you were French, you were Catholic. If you were English, then obviously you had to be part of the Church of England. It went on and on and on. The Pilgrims were being religiously persecuted, so they came here. So of course, the United States of America, which is founded in the highest ideals of the Enlightenment, and the Enlightenment, of course, led by Voltaire and John Locke and Thomas Jefferson, all argued, of course, that reason is something that is very different from religion and revelation and faith. And then, of course, reason is something that we all have, and we can argue about that. But when you're talking about religion, when you're talking about revelatory beliefs of different religious traditions, you can't really use reason as much. You have to rely on faith. And so the Founding Fathers relegated religion to the private sphere of life. And that's why the First Amendment is not there to discourage religion. It is there to encourage a diversity of religion. That's why we're not going to establish one church. That's why we're not going to abridge the free exercise of anybody's religion. Remember, Thomas Jefferson wrote to a group of Baptist ministers, and he talked about a wall separating church and state. Remember, that metaphor of a wall is not in the Constitution. That's from a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote, but the metaphor is still a good one. That we're going to have a secular society where people are free to be religious on their own. Government is not going to support religion. It's not going to mandate religion. It's not going to favor religion over non-religion. It's going to stay neutral. And so you have two clauses. The Establishment Clause, which says that Congress is not going to establish a church. And we also have the Free Exercise Clause, which says that Congress is not going to write laws that abridge the free exercise of people's religions. Now, of course, there are dozens of cases revolving around both clauses. Now, on the Establishment Clause, two cases you need to know: Engel versus Vitale in 1961 or 1962, dealing with a school prayer, school-led prayer in the state of New York. Of course, the Supreme Court said that school-led prayer is unconstitutional and violates the Establishment Clause. Now, remember, that is school-led prayer. As John F. Kennedy said, as long as there are tests, there's going to be prayer in schools. You are free to pray as much as you want to. You can say, Lord, give me the answer to question 68, please. You're free to do that. But I can't lead you in that if I'm at a public school. The other case, of course, is Lemon versus Kurtzman, which deals with the question of to what extent can taxpayer dollars go to help parochial schools. Make sure you know about the Lemon test. The government cannot foster or an excessive entanglement with religion. You cannot help or hinder religion. You have to stay neutral if you're dealing with schools. So make sure you remember Lemon versus Kurtzman and Engel versus Vitale on the Establishment Clause side. On the other side, make sure you know two or three different cases. Reynolds versus U.S., which said that the Morrell anti-bigamy law was not unconstitutional. In general, the Supreme Court, when it looks at free exercise clause cases in recent years, has said as long as a state or national law does not target a religion, typically the law is going to be upheld, and the free exercise clause is not going to be used as an excuse to violate it. Henry David Thoreau had to go to prison. People had to go to war, even if they were conscientious objectors at times. So in general, using your religion to break the law is not going to work. The one decision that tends to be the exception to the rule of that, of course, is in Wisconsin versus Yoder, where they said that, you know what, the Amish are a separate community, and the conflict there is that the Amish only go to school through 8th grade. The state law says you have to go through the age of 16. In that instance, because they are a community within a community, the Supreme Court did say that the Amish can use their free exercise clause rights as a way of not following that law of Wisconsin. And of course, the last one was in the 1990s and revolved around the issue of drug use and peyote. And that was Employment Division of Oregon versus Smith, where the Employment Division made Smith take a test if he was receiving any kind of unemployment benefits or public assistance, and he tested positive. And of course, Smith said, well, hold on a minute. I wasn't doing I wasn't ingesting peyote in a recreational fashion. I wasn't doing it in a way that was in any way abusive of the laws. I was literally doing it as a way of freely exercising my religion. Supreme Court said, well, sorry, tough luck. At the end of the day, that law was not trying to discriminate against you as a Native American. Sorry that it did, but that's incidental. So remember your two clauses, Establishment Clause, Free Exercise Clause. Make sure you know those cases. Thank you.